Happy Wednesday, everyone. I'm living in the matrix right now. I really am because with the whole Jeffrey Epstein, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino saying that, there's going to be files released, clients' names, videos, things that's going to be very incredibly damaging to the people that were involved in the Jeffrey Epstein human trafficking. And I just feel like, it's like when Morpheus told Neo, you have to choose the red pill or the blue pill. And I feel like with them, they took the blue pill because when they took the blue pill, like poof, all of a sudden nothing happened. No evidence, no blackmail, no client list. But when they took the red pill, they wanted things to happen. And if anyone don't remember of Morpheus and Neo, I'm going to refresh your memory.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Well, you guys, we're going to go into the rabbit hole because those three, they took the blue pill and it seemed like nothing never happened. So, welcome back, everyone, to That's It. Yeah, I'm living in a matrix world because, apparently nothing's what it makes to seem. Like everything was based on a lie. What Pam, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, among the rest of the Trump administrator team saying that nothing happened with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, no, like I said, no blacklist. There's no names. There's no clients. Jeffrey Epstein acted alone. There's no blackmail. There's absolutely nothing. But the funny thing is, and it's not a funny thing because, obviously the victims are um, traumatized by this one, and they're the one that's getting the end of the stick of this, meaning that there's no justice for them or for any other victims that's involved when you have um, high profile predators and pedophiles just have sex with underage girls, and because you have money, you have influencer, that you can just get away with it because you know people, you have connections. And I really feel bad for the victims because there's no justice. Even though they say that in the Department of Justice, the DOJ, there should be Department of Corruption. They should change their name. Like really, it should be the Department of Corruption because there's no justice of what they're doing at all. And the reason why I'm saying it's funny because those three were so gun ho, so focused on telling the public that we are going to get the truth out, meaning that we are going to find out what happened with all the victims, what happened to Jeffrey Epstein. We're going to find out the truth, you guys. We're going to let you guys know. There's going to be transparency. There's going to be accountability. We're going to find out the truth because we need to find out the truth. They kept saying that to us for us to focus on that. And now they turn around and say, wait a minute, hold up. There's nothing. There's nothing. So, meaning there's no evidence stating the fact that Jeffrey Epstein had co-conspirators, that there was a blackmail, he was blackmailing people, there was like name a client list, a black book. We just gonna have you forget about it and let it go. Like really, you want us to let it go when you was just telling us to not let it go? You see where the discrepancy is? There's so much discrepancy in this whole thing. It's just utterly bullshit. It's such a cover up. We all know it too. And now they're trying to double down and say, no, it's not. Like, the MAGA are outraged, okay? They're outraged of the whole Epstein thing, which rightfully so, because they wanted transparency from you guys. You even advocate that you're going to get to the bottom of this. Once Trump is in office, you're going to get to the bottom of this. You're going to release the Epstein file, the JFK, Martin Luther King, all of that. And all of a sudden, things has switched. I don't know, it's because if when Elon Musk said that Trump is involved, meaning that his name is on the files. Now, let's be clear here. There's no evidence to the fact that Trump was involved in Jeffrey Epstein human trafficking, because if that was the case, the far left, the far Democrat would have ran with that 100% while he was running his campaign against Kamala Harris. Okay, they would have ran with it if they had any inkling of proof, because they can't stand Donald Trump. They hate him with a passion. Hates with a capital Hate. They hate the man. So any evidence, any ammo that they have against Donald Trump, they would have used it right away. So I have to say I don't believe it. Was he friends with Jeffrey Epstein? Absolutely. There's pictures all over the internet stating the fact that was he in Epstein's private plane? Yes, because it's on a flight log. Everything is true 100%. But I have to say I don't think Donald Trump had any involvement of the human trafficking operation when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein. That I can say, because if that was true, the Democrat would have used that last year to get rid of him. So obviously there's no proof to that unless there is, and I'm not aware of, or the people are not aware of. But what I'm saying is that these three, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, they all were like advocating, going really hard, like dumb hard, you guys, like, you gotta let this out. This has to be released. People have to take accountability, blah, 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 blah. And then they turn around and say this. And I'm going to let you listen to their own words, because I'm going to show you more footage of all three of them, what they're saying, what they said. And again, it's just a contradictory. It's inconsistent what they're saying. They say one thing in 2023, they're saying something different in 2025. What changed? What changed their tune that they changed their mind? And again, I believe they took the blue pill, because all of a sudden they were on the red pill, and now they're on the blue pill, like all in delusional, like nothing never happened. And they want us to be in La La Land and follow the train with them, and to be in Luliland. And I'm like, I'm not doing that, okay? I'm not going to be in La La Land with you, or in some type of delusional, like nothing never happened. You may want to take the blue pill, which I believe they took the blue pill, but I want to stick with the red pill that have common sense. So let me show you a video of Dan Bongino. I love that last name. Bongino. It's like Italian last name, I think. But anyway, I want to show you. You take a listen, excuse me, to his comment. What he had to say. Oops, that is not it, honey. There we go.
So,
roll that beautiful footage.
Again, you want me to get? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself. That Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on it. Catherine Rumler, we need to keep the heat on this case, folks. There are a lot of people who are knee-deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it, outside of a few entrepreneurial media outlets saying, hey, this is a big deal.
Well, it seemed like that day he took the red pill, because this year he took the blue pill and changed his mindset. Epstein killed himself. No one didn't kill him. He committed suicide. Next footage I'm going to show you is Kash Patel. 2023, he said one thing, he took the red pill. In 2025, he took the blue pill. And the voice that interviewing with Kash Patel, and I remember that I told you I didn't know the name of the guy. Well, his name is Benny Johnson. He's a commentator and he's a YouTuber. So I just wanted to tell you guys that, because I didn't know his name previously when I was talking about when I was doing my last video. So this is Kash Patel and what he has to say.
The FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list?
That I agree with. Bill Gates is all over this, and everyone knows it.
And why is it that the Senate, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but release the names, right?
And release the names. That's all we care about.
I've said it. Dan Bongino said it. We've reviewed all the information, and the American public is going to get as much as we can release. He killed himself. Do you think, let's play out the logical conclusion of this. Do you think that myself, Bongino, and others would participate in hiding information about Epstein's grotesque activities? Yes. Or do you think we would also participate in not prosecuting people we had evidence to prosecute people on?
Yes.
Where's the videotape of an Epstein Island of X, Y, and Z committing these frauds? Why haven't you given it?
Oh, sorry.
Do you really think I wouldn't give that to you if it existed?
If it existed. So let me pause right there. Two things. Kash Patel may be telling the truth. He may be telling the truth that there's no video existed, because if they did, they would have presented it. Or he could be lying, because remember, you guys, he just said it in his own words. If there was video, it would be produced. But Pam Bondi said there was thousands of girls' footage that they had to review. When they went to his home, Jeffrey Epstein's home in New York, they confiscated a lot of bins with a lot of DVDs, a lot of tapes. So I don't understand why he's saying that there's no videos, there's no tapes. When people testify, the victim said there was tapes around. The FBI confiscated, there's tapes. I don't understand why the lie. Again, you took the red pill, 2023, and then now he took the blue pill like nothing never happened. There's no videos, there's nothing. Because if they did, he would have presented. He would have prosecuted people. Well, I don't know, you guys. I don't know. But, hey, what do I know? Again, I'm just following the logic here. I'm trying to bring some common sense back, but it seemed like, they're trying to manipulate us and gaslight us, saying that, there's nothing there, we should just take their word for it. Well, we all know, you guys, this is a whole big cover-up. This is a deep state cover-up. We know it, everyone else knows it, and we are tired of the bullshit. We really are, and we're really sick of it. Now, I'm going to show you another footage of Pam Bondi, what she said that there's tapes. There's tons of videos that they're scanning and they're reviewing and stuff like that. Again, she took the red pill, and now all of a sudden she took the blue pill, and there's no tapes. There's no evidence of anything. Take a listen.
You have the Epstein files on your desk. When can we see them, and what's taking so long to release them?
Yeah, what's taking so long?
I do. Jesse, there are well over, this will make you sick. 200 victims. 200. So we have, over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected.
Absolutely.
And their personal information. But other than that, I think tomorrow, the personal information of victims. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
And when she said that, she's talking about the flight logs, which that was just bullshit. There was nothing there. It was a bunch of nonsense. And that's what she was referring to, the flight logs. Obviously, they didn't release anything because they said there's no evidence to release anything.
What kind? Are we going to see who was on the flights? Are we going to see any evidence from what he recorded? Because he had all of his homes wired with recording devices.
Mm-hmm. What you're going to see, hopefully tomorrow, is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information. But it's pretty sick what that man did.
Pretty sick what that man did, right? Pretty sick, Pam. But you just going to just tell the American people there's no evidence. It's pretty sick, right? Again, she took the blue pill. Now, a next clipping that I'm going to show you guys is Tucker Carlson. And just like me and everyone else, We all believe that Epstein did not kill himself. We believe that he was murdered in his jail cell. But the public, no, excuse me, let me rewind. The government, the DOJ, want us to believe that he committed suicide, and they showed us that ridiculous footage video that makes absolutely no sense when I showed you yesterday, okay, and there was a footage cut out. And my thing is, if he did kill himself and you got the real footage, why are you not showing the footage of him taking his own life? Why show us a half-assed fake video, okay? It's fake, it's been altered, it's been edited. I don't believe that footage for 1 second, and none of the people do either, okay? They just want us to see or think what we want to see or hear what we want to see when it's bullshit. Bullshit. But I'm going to let you listen to Tucker Carlson in his own words, and I absolutely agree with him 100% what he has to say about the whole Epstein case. Take a listen.
He didn't kill himself.
Yeah.
He was murdered in his cell.
Yeah.
How can that happen?
Well,
it can't happen without state actors involved.
That's right. Look at the story that we were told at that time. Part of the information dump here by the administration is some hours of footage. We were told that footage didn't exist. We were told that this was some guards who were, off.
They fell asleep.
They fell asleep. This was, and none of it exists. And actually, it was all part of a screw up. And the camera angles wouldn't even be able to show anything. But that's why they're relatively confident. So where did this camera footage even come from?
Well, the camera footage doesn't even. First of all, it ends before they take his body out.
Right.
Why can't we see that?
Yep.
And the angle on it is absurd.
Yeah.
But the real question, just not to be pedantic, but the real question is, who are the other inmates on that cell block? So no one came in or out of the cell block. I think that's fair. It was the most secure cell block in that federal lockup in Manhattan. But who are the other inmates? And I went to Department of Prisons, which is part of DOJ, and asked, what are their names? Oh, we can't for privacy reasons. Really? These are people who can't vote or own a firearm?
Yes.
Right.
For the rest of their lives? But somehow they've got a HIPAA law or something?
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense. I agree with Tucker. It doesn't make any sense. When people are in prison, they have no rights anymore. Their rights are non and void. So why they couldn't give Tucker Carlson that answer or that access? Again, a big cover-up.
Around who's a federal inmate? Fuck you, actually.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I agree. It doesn't make any sense. Nothing of all of this whole thing does not make any sense whatsoever. Now, I want to show you this clip of Think Like, I believe it's PBD video of this gentleman, Vincent, I believe that's his name, Vincent, was talking about Dan Bongino, how he's saying in his words that basically that Dan Bongino is going to have a tough time with Jeffrey Epstein case because things that he's going to see and things that he may not agree with or something that he wants to do because he's a Christian man. And that for me, that's hard to believe because if that's really true and he's a real Christian, then why would he allow all of this to happen? Why he can't just come forward and tell the truth and do the investigation and the people that were involved in the human trafficking get prosecuted and go to jail and do the right thing, the Christian thing. You know what I mean? So I just don't understand why Benny, I think that's his name, Benny, would say that. Maybe it's true, but my thing is people act one way and they do something differently. Again, taking the blue pill. You know what I mean? They take the blue pill so they can be in denial. They can be in this fantasy world, this illusion like it didn't really happen. I didn't really see this. I'm not going to touch this. Opposed to taking a red pill and snap out of reality and say, oh my gosh, this is not right and I have to do the right thing. And it seems like a lot of people are not doing that anymore. A lot of people are not touching this case anymore because it seems like someone's giving them the order to not to touch this case, to let it go away and let it die. Okay? A lot of people are taking a blue pill and trying to forget about this, but a lot of people are not going to forget about this. A lot of people, I'm sorry to say this, a lot of people are not turning their back on this thing because this is too much of a big case to just let go and just say, okay, we're just going to let it go and we're going to wash our hands of it and we're just going to say bygones be bygones. No, it doesn't work that way. This is such a big case, a deep state cover-up that we, the American people, deserve justice. And I'm so sick and tired of the DOJ saying we're protecting the victims. No, you're not protecting the victims. You're protecting the pedophiles. That's who you're protecting. At least be honest about it. Don't fuck around and gaslight the people and gaslight us and saying that you're protecting the victims. You're not protecting the victims at all. You're protecting the pedophiles that were involved in this and to keep them safe because Bill Gates is running, doing, what you call it? Let me refresh my memory. Where's my notes? That he is, lobbying Congress night and day, like that guy said, to prevent disclosure of that list, involvement of the American people because it has something to do with Israel, some spy. Basically they're protecting Israel and whatever their dealings are. That's who they're protecting. So don't contradict us and saying that it's for the victims. You're protecting the victims. Where we all know that that's not the case. You're not protecting the victims. You're protecting these damn pedophiles and for them to continue to do this again. Okay, there's no justice here. Okay, a lot of discrepancies. With Pam, Kash, unanswered questions, or we deserve questions. We demand actually answers. We do. We demand it. And I know Pam Bondi. I don't mean to go off topic here, but I know that Pam Bondi, she's under fire right now. She is, and rightfully so, because you can't just say all these things in the news outlets, Fox News, saying that you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and you turn around and say there's nothing there, like nothing really happened. If that's the case, then why Giselle Maxwell in prison then? Why is she serving a 20-year sentence then? If that's the case, then you falsely prison her then. So, Ghislaine Maxwell, if you hearing this or listen to this, you should call that lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, Epstein's ex-attorney. You should give him a call and appeal your case, because if there's no files, if there's no evidence, and this human trafficking never happened, then why she's in prison then? Why is she serving a 20? Let me get my glasses. I am so sorry. A 20-year sentence in a federal prison of sex trafficking of a minor, transportation of a minor with intent to engage in criminal sexual activity. Then she should be free. She served her time. She's what? She is 60. I don't know how old she is now, but she was in. See what it says. She's in her 60s probably. Okay, yeah, she's in her 60s. So time served. They should just do some clemency. Maybe Trump should just release her, because again, there's no evidence of anything. That's what they said. That's what they all said. So why is she still serving time? And I just want to be very perfectly clear. Even though I voted for Trump, and I did, and I admit to that, but I could still be hypocritical of the administrator, because what they're doing is not right. What they're doing is unjust. I stand by, and I don't regret voting for Trump. However, this whole Epstein thing is disgusting. It's disgusting to me, and I have a right to criticize his team. I have a right to criticize Trump, even though I voted for him. It's just wrong. It's just wrong that they're letting this pedophile get away with this. It's like, I just don't understand how they can think that this is okay, and it's not okay. Now, I want to show you, the video. I'm sorry, I just went off, and I just had to say this of him saying about Dan Bongino. I just love that last name, Bongino.
I think the most conflicted is going to be Dan Bongino.
Bongino, excuse me, Bongino.
Who knows everything? Pam Bondi. She is the #1 law enforcement officer. She was in Florida, Pat, on the cleanup of this whole Epstein thing. She knows where the bodies are buried, so to speak. But I don't think she's conflicted because she's been involved all the time. I think Dan Bongino, you know what I mean? They asked him, I don't know who offered him the job. It came in. He's seen enough, Pat, where he's like, holy shit. He's a Secret Service agent. He loves America. He's a Christian. I think he is having the most. I could see it in his face. When you see Dan Bongino in the interviews now, he looks as if somebody has taken something from him. Like a part of his soul is gone. Like I think they pulled over the current and saw it, and they said, shh.
Well, I stand corrected of his last name, Bongino. If that's the case, then you know what? Then he should do the right thing. As a Christian man, and he's probably married and have children, and he sees things that made him uncomfortable, that it seemed not right, and someone's telling him, and I don't know that this is speculation, if someone's telling him to shh, not to say anything, don't say a word, don't get involved, then you know what? He should get involved and do the right thing. Because what if it was one of his children? What if it was one of his family members or anyone else? I don't think that anyone in the government that's working in an administrator should keep quiet, especially if you work in secret services like that man said. You know, and I do apologize for pronouncing his last name incorrectly, excuse me. But my thing is, if things that he didn't like, then maybe you shouldn't be in secret services. Maybe this is not the job for you. If you can't do the honorable thing as a Christian man to do what's right and take the red pill opposed to the blue pill, then things would be better. But you choose to take the blue pill and you choose to turn a blind eye and walk away, just like all those three of them. Kash, Pam, among other people, which is just not right. Which is not right at all. Now, I want to show you this this clip of Elon Musk that he posted on X, and it's just hilarious. And this is what he said, and I have to laugh because it's just so funny. Even though this whole situation is bullshit and it's just not right, but I just had to laugh about this, and I don't know. Like I said, he's just making fun of the people in the Trump administration. So it says, "We will release the Epstein list. We just need more time. The Epstein list is on my desk. There is no Epstein list," with the clown face. And I agree. Like, first you tell us all these things, and now you just turn around and say, there's no list. It was all fabricated. It was all made up. All made up, you guys. Just all made up. Like, poof. They took the blue pill, so took the blue pill, nothing exists, nothing happens. Now, the last video that I want to show you is Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, who was on Piers Morgan's show, and he had a lot to say, a few things to say about the whole incident about his brother's death, and he believed that his brother did not commit suicide, that his brother was killed in his jail. And remember, when I did a series of Who Killed Jeffrey Epstein, remember, and I wrote this down, remember I talked about Michael Botten. He's a New York medical examiner, the most respected pathologist in the country. Examine Epstein's body because Mark Epstein hired him to get a second opinion. Now, Mark said during the Piers Morgan show that he would accept if his brother killed himself. But he was like saying, why would my brother kill himself knowing that he had a court appearance? Okay, he hired another lawyer. He had a court appearance for bail. Okay, and it was a high bail. And his brother said that Epstein knew that he was going to get released because he got released before, back in 2016 or whatever. I believe. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember. And he was on probation in West Palm Beach, Florida, and he was in and out. He was not really in probation. He was not really on basically house arrest, but he could just go as he pleased. So Epstein knew, because that's how arrogant he was. He knew that he was going to get out. He knew that he was going to be released from jail because of his money that he has, his influencer people that he knows, and lawyers. So then his brother was saying, why would he commit suicide when he knew that he was going to be released? And my theory is, and I believe that people knew that he was going to be released to go somewhere, go to another country, maybe, and then they had to put a stop to it, and that's when they end his life. Okay, the camera was not working, the security guard was nowhere to be found. They were sleeping, and then next to know it, they falsified some records and stuff like that. They all were in on it in that jail. Okay, you trying to tell me they was not in on it? They were all in on it. They staged a suicide. It didn't make any sense. Now, according to Dr. Botten, he said that the wounds, broken bones, and his neck were completely inconsistent with hanging himself. Now, Dr. Botten has examined a lot of bodies, a lot of suicide that hanged themselves, and he's saying that that's not the case. Okay, with 3 broken bones in his neck, it's not suicide. Someone killed him, strangulation. okay? And then you have Patel saying that, oh, I know what a suicide looks like. How do you know? You're not a doctor. You're an FBI agent, dude. You're not a doctor. You're not an examiner. So how can you tell if someone killed themselves? He said that. And then Dan, he said that too. Jeffrey, he killed himself. How do you know? Did you read the autopsy report? Did you resume his body or look at his body? How would you know by just looking? Like me, I can just look and I wouldn't even know unless someone explained it to me, unless I read the report, which we can all say they didn't read the report. They really didn't. They're just going by what other people are telling them, okay? So they're not experts. For them to say, for Kash to say, oh, you know, I can just see, I can just tell it was a suicide. Dude, you're not an expert. You're not a medical examiner. So for you to say that is just ridiculous. You sound very stupid, in my opinion. I'm sorry. You sound very stupid, you know? And that's what Mark Epstein was like saying. Like, you're not an expert, dude. So how can you say that you can tell someone committed suicide when you don't even know what you're talking about? I'm going by the expert. I'm going by Michael Bondi. And I agree with Michael Bondi. And like I said yesterday, that the other medical examiner from New York, she falsified that record. She was told to do that. Do I have proof that that happened? No, I do not, but I'm going to follow my gut instincts. And I believe someone threatened her family probably, or paid her out to say, listen, I'm going to give you this X amount of money. And if I give you this X amount of money, I need you to falsify these records. And sure enough, she did. Now, I don't have proof of it, but I know that happened. Okay, I'm not an idiot here. We know that happened because you have another expert, Dr. Botten. He said completely. He said it's inconsistent. It's inconsistent, and the whole thing was staged. His cell, Jeffrey Epstein's cell, was staged to look like it was a suicide when it completely was not a suicide. Everything was contaminated. No one could even go in there. Boy, bye. You're not believing it. I'm not believing it. People can else believe it, but I'm not believing it. But I'm going to show you the clip of the Mark Epstein, what he has to say with Piers Morgan. And I love Piers Morgan, by the way. One day, hopefully one day, go to London and I can not interview him, he can interview me one day. It's one of my bucket lists. But anyway, let's continue.
I thought all of these people work for Trump, okay? So if they're covering up for somebody, who do you think they might be covering up for?
So you think they're covering up for President Trump?
Everybody is looking at little pieces of this and coming up with kind of theories, but people really take the time, because there's a lot of facts, there's a lot of information. People who take the time to really investigate this thoroughly all come to the pretty much conclusion that maybe Trump was behind this.
Wow.
Maybe Jeff was killed to quiet him.
You think President Trump has something to do with Epstein, your brother, being killed?
I wouldn't write that off. Because if you look at all of the evidence we have, and all of the facts, not opinions, but all of the facts, that wouldn't be something I would dismiss.
I mean, that's an extraordinary thing to say, but there is zero evidence that Donald Trump had anything to do with your brother's death.
Well, somebody did.
Well, I have to agree with Piers Morgan. I don't believe Donald Trump had any involvement of Jeffrey Epstein's death, but I believe that President Trump knows more than he's saying and he's doing. That I believe. You know what I mean? I believe other people were involved in the death of Jeffrey Epstein that no one doesn't want to talk about or recover or get the truth out. I don't understand why, but I don't believe President Trump had anything to do with the death of Jeffrey Epstein, but I believe there is a cover. I believe they know more than they're telling and saying. And under Joe Biden administrator, they knew as well. I wouldn't be shocked or surprised if they destroy evidence. Okay, some evidence may be destroyed, and there's some evidence that's still around that someone still have in their back pocket or in their safe or whatever. I believe there's still some evidence out there. I really do. I believe some of it have not been all destroyed. I bet somebody probably made a copy of it for leverage or for something that it may be released one day, just like what happened with Diddy of him beating on Cassie in 2016 at Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles. So I believe that may happen. You know what I mean? If it can be leaked like that, it can be leaked again with Jeffrey Epstein. We don't know. We don't know. We never will know, but it could happen. And my thing is, finally, they're saying that there's no conspirators, there's no one involved. I have a question then. Then why did Prince Andrew settle $11 million to Virginia Giuffre? Why? If he had no involvement, because he made it very clear that he never met her, he doesn't recognize her, even though there's pictures of him with her in the London house with Ghislaine Maxwell and with his hands around her hip when she was the age of 17. So for someone who never met her, but then you settle with her at $11 million, I'm sorry, I'm not going to give anyone a penny if they accuse me of something that I didn't do. And I say that I never met you. So that makes no sense. You give someone that you settle $11 million and that you never met someone. Make it make sense. Again, what do I know? You know what I mean? I'm just asking the questions here, you know what I mean? And it doesn't make any sense. And no one's not following the paper trail. No one's not touching that because he's royal or ex-royal or whatever. No one's not saying anything. No one's not asking the questions. If he never met her, why did he settle with her? Does that make any sense? $11 million? Shoot, I wish someone could settle with me $11 million and I never met the person. It doesn't make any sense. No one doesn't want to touch anything. Why everyone's so afraid? Why is that? Why they're so afraid of these pedophiles and these predators that they're protecting? Why? Why is that? It's just so sad and so heartbreaking to me. Like, I'm really, really salty about this. I really am. And I don't think I will ever stop talking about this because this is not right. This is the hugest cover-up in 2025. And then they expect Trump and everyone else for us just to forget about it and stop talking about it when you promised the American people that you would get justice for the victims, justice for everyone, and you're not. You letting these people run around free to let them continue to do it again. And it seemed like for all the other pedophiles, that it's okay. I can, do X, Y, and Z, and I know that I'm going to get away with it because I'm rich, I'm powerful, I'm successful. And how is it right that Ghislaine Maxwell, a woman who served 20 years, and you have all these men, who are involved in this, and nothing's happening to them? There's no accountability. How's that fair? How's that justice? No justice. But again, what do I know? They're all taking the blue pill. The red pill's out the window. It's just crazy. This woman served a 20-year sentence, and then the rest of the men that were involved in this, they just get to live their life rich, famous, influencer, whoever they are. Okay? And I don't understand. That's what I'm saying. Ghislaine Maxwell, if you're hearing this, you should call Alan Dershowitz and have him represent you because they falsely imprisoned you. Because like they said, and this is coming from their words, not mine, that there's no evidence that Jeffrey Epstein acted alone. So if Jeffrey Epstein acted alone, and if they said it on their memo, not my words, so don't come after me and try to sue me, okay? I'm reading what you said in the memo. If you're saying that Jeffrey Epstein acted alone and there was no conspirators, then why she's in prison? She should be released. She should be released, right? Am I right or wrong? Just let me know if I'm just out of my mind. I'm just not making sense. I'm just talking out of my ass. Let me know, okay? Because I don't think it's right. I think she should just be free. Excuse me. I think she should just be free. She should be free. Time served. That's it. Time served. Time served. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.